Testing. Testing. Test. Oh, god damn it. Why am I in charge of this? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Oh, finally. Looks like I got this thing working. Hi there. My name is Colin King, postgraduate student at the University of Toronto. The date is March 24th. It's my pleasure and honor to be the student selected to document and record all of our findings for Dr. Andrew Cole as we attempt to travel through time. The Arcane, Trouveurs. Into the Abyss. Chapter 1. Heading Out. Written and performed by Brett Walker. I don't literally mean travel through time. That was just a dumb joke for myself. What we are attempting to do has yet to be done by epidemiologists and modern-day historians. We are planning to explore every major city affected by one of the 6 most deadliest plague outbreaks in recorded history. We will examine the social-cultural influence of the disease, the economic and political impact, and even how societies at the time managed the spread and control of the disease. We're doing this to help create a record of how different types of infections spread and impact society. This way, we can develop a predictive tracking model for future pandemics. One can only dream of having the opportunity to work on such an important project. Fortunately, 6 students from the university have been allowed to join the 3 lead professors on this project. First, we have Dr. Leonard Boyd, a professor of biology here at the university. He will be leading a team of scientists on our expedition. Well, field research. Expedition would imply that we're going to venture forth into perhaps dangerous territory for paradigm-altering research. This is more like a glorified cross-Europe library tour, but we do have 2 digs, one in Crimea and one in China. So those should be good ways to end months of book research, museum trips, and lectures. We will also be joined by Professor Sylvia Admundson, head of computer programming. Or was that engineering? Either way, her and her students are computer geniuses, and frankly, I have no idea why I was trusted with this recording thing. Their job will be to synthesize the data we collect and create a pandemic impact predictive program. They will do this by using some historical events which occurred before, during, and after the spread of the plague to help develop a baseline. Finally, we have Dr. Andrew Cole, head of anthropology. He is a world-renowned researcher and a gifted lecturer. That's to say, I haven't slept in many of his classes. He is the main researcher on this project. His influence in almost every field of study is legendary. After spending time studying with him, I'm starting to believe the rumors that he is the luckiest man alive. I mean, not to discredit his research or anything. It's just, most scientists have some bad ideas that maybe don't pan out quite as expected, or maybe they just have a few misses. But Dr. Cole has never once had a bad idea, negative peer review, negative student review, or lost a grant bid for the university. So needless to say, I feel very fortunate that he chose me to be one of the 2 post-grad students that get to be part of this project. I think that should do it. Great. Knocked it out of the park. First recording, done. Oh, thank God. It has come to my attention that I have not properly explained the premise of our research. Dr. Cole insists that I need to be as thorough as possible in these field recordings. He is adamant that we need to create as many copies of our findings as possible. I mean, that does make sense. It's just the way he talked about it that seemed a little odd to me. He spoke to me in a manner that I've never seen or heard from him before. Most times when a professor expresses their disappointment, it comes in one of 2 ways. Either as constructive criticism meant to redouble your attempts to do better moving forward, or something harsher. This is meant to light a fire of spite in your soul, a blaze which fuels your passions and makes you work harder than you ever thought previously possible. And you do. You do this in an attempt to show those stuffy assholes that sit behind their desks that you are worthy of every second of their precious time, and that maybe, just maybe, they're not the infallible scholars they perceive themselves to be, and maybe, oh, I don't freaking know, maybe they can be reminded that as they sit there behind their desks, acting as the fountain of all knowledge from which the waters of wisdom spring, their waters are just as shitty as their personalities, and that just like the dinosaurs, a new, more technologically savvy asteroid is coming to wipe their prehistoric asses out. But this was not Dr. Cole's tone either. He was adamant in a sense you'd only see from somebody either on the verge of complete and total genius or someone on the verge of a complete mental breakdown. Perhaps this coming project is weighing heavier on him than any one of us thought possible. Honestly speaking, us postgrads don't have much to lose. Once we're done here, we're all set to graduate. We can move on to the next phase of our life. We are here to gain prestige for our CVs. So I guess I shouldn't sweat the petty things, nor should I pet the sweaty things. Oh, God, I can't believe I said that. I should probably record a detailed account of what we will be attempting with our research. And delete this whole passage. Come April 12th, we will set off on a field research excursion, which will last a total of 3 months. During this time, we are expected to research all that we can about the historical plague outbreaks which ravaged each region. Frankly, I see no reasoning behind researching a disease long since cured. You would think that the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 or even the SARS outbreak would be a more relevant research topic. But I guess, as a historian, Professor Cole focuses more on events as young as 100 years old. We will begin our research in London, England. Most of our time will be spent in the historical libraries of King's College. Dr. Cole was able to grant us special VIP access to the Museum of London. Their exhibit on the Great Plague of 1665 should be an interesting addition to our research. This will be a great opportunity for us to handle artifacts and learn hands-on about how to curate a museum exhibition. My one question is, How famous does a person have to be able to pull off a favor like that? Once we're finished digging around the libraries of London, we will take a train, another train, and then a third train, all the way down to Marseille in the southwest of France. The Great Plague of Marseille devastated the region in the 1720s. Both Dr. Boyd and Dr. Cole were able to get us access to some of the research facilities at the University of Marseille. It is our hope that the insight and knowledge they possess can be of great use to us in our efforts to create this computer program and showcase the need to prepare ourselves for pandemics the same way we prepare ourselves for war. Then we move on to Florence, Italy. We will spend time researching the Italian plague, which affected Italy's more northern cities like Florence and Venice. This outbreak came in two waves, with the secondary wave greatly contributing to the social and economic downfall of the region. In order to uncover just how problematic this plague was, we will have access to the records at the Museum of Pathological Anatomy and the libraries at the University of Florence, thanks to Dr. Boyd. Real talk, this is possibly one of the cities I am most excited to visit. My interest, of course, being purely academic. I have no vested interest in all the art and history and food and history of food available. I mean, once we have devoured our way through all the research Florence has to offer, we will make our way to Istanbul. Istanbul is home to the earliest outbreak of the plague in recorded history. The Justinian plague, named after Emperor Justinian I, was a particularly terrible outbreak. The disease played a role in reshaping the borders of the Byzantine Empire. The University of Constantinople has allowed us access to a special exhibit on the history of medicine during this time period at Istanbul's Museum of History and Medicine of Islam. Should make for a good time. If all else fails, I get to lovingly annoy everybody with "They Might Be Giants." That song's gonna be stuck in my head now. Dr. Amundsen has informed us that we will be taking a ship across the Black Sea to our next destination, Crimea. I really hope this isn't her way of jazzing up the trip. Once we dock in Crimea, we will be escorted to a dig site. This dig site is said to be of an abandoned town which was completely wiped out by the Black Death as it was backpacking its way through Asia, the Mediterranean, and Europe. I'm curious to find out why the people of this area left this city abandoned. What folk tales surround the ghost town? What can we discover amongst the old buildings and the mass graves of the victims of this plague? More importantly, did they learn anything about the plague before they were eradicated? All this and more coming to you soon, in at least 3 months. Finally, we will end our trip in the Yunnan province of China. One of the last major outbreaks of the plague happened in China during the mid-1800s. We will be working alongside students and professors from the People's University of China. They will be joining us at the excavation site in the northern part of the province. We will be closer to the borders of Myanmar than Beijing itself. So that's just some geographical context for those of you familiar with China's provinces. Or world geography, for that matter. Either way, it should make for an exciting trip. Serena Cho, one of Dr. Amundsen's students, has told me wondrous things about southern Chinese food. Although, having been born and raised in Chengdu, I think she might have a bias. Hopefully, this concludes a detailed account of our intentions with our research. Apparently not. Upon reviewing the latest recording, Dr. Cole insists that I add the following. All diseases are related somehow. Not only in the fact that they are the same type of bacteria, but that they all have a similar point of origin. I mean, yeah, all diseases need to start somewhere, but why do we need to stress it that badly? The Spanish flu appeared in Europe and SARS in China. The only way point of origin becomes relevant would be to see how quickly a new disease can spread and leave a country. We have seen in the past that pandemics always come with fear and paranoia. So if we are to establish a country of origin, as were Dr. Cole's original words, then could that not scientifically give merit to those who wish to commit a hate crime? I voiced my concerns with Dr. Cole, and he insisted that it had nothing to do with race or placing blame. But then he continued on with this intangible rant about the connectivity and the source of it all. He really drove that point home. The source of it all, the source of it all. I wish I could say that this was all that stood out from my encounter with Dr. Cole, but it wasn't. His insistence on this matter definitely crossed over from man on the brink of genius to man on the brink of a nervous breakdown. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but in the interest of unbiased science, I'm going to say it anyway. I hope this variable Dr. Cole is fixated on doesn't skew the data we collect in any particularly racist direction. I would hate for one man's quest for truth, or what he considers to be the truth, turn a computer model which should save all lives into a model that saves some lives before others.
What? This time, you'll sit here rolling. Well, never say, you'll say that you get all in that room. You'll sign out like me, you'll send out the session. See the line of surfers that it is shit, such girl. Sure, I'll do it. Then I'm reading the get in. Sneer some silver. Sure, I'll watch.
I don't know what to make of this. I know that I've spent the last month getting really good at recording, so I have to take into consideration that I am to blame. Or maybe it's the software. Maybe it's the hardware. I don't know what is to blame for that weird recording of Dr. Cole's final pre-trip lecture. I'll have somebody who knows what the hell they're doing take a look at this stuff. Hopefully that will mean everything will be in working order for the trip. Hopefully Dr. Cole's near crazy person tone doesn't spoil what should be an exciting project for us. The potentially life-saving predictive model Boyd, Admonson, and Cole are working on is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I will be damned if I let anybody spoil this for me. So the next time you hear my voice, I will be in London, beginning the long journey of digitally recreating some of the world's most devastating pandemics. So if you're listening to this, future me, I hope we absolutely crush it over the next 3 months. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Arcane Trouveurs. If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with all the episodes we release this fall. And hey, thanks.